Hey everyone, welcome back from the break. While I go frame Randy for murder, make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Rating us 5 stars and leaving a review really helps us out. So to those of you who have done so, just know that we appreciate you. Enjoy today's episode and make sure you stick around to the end to find out what's coming next. Now on to the show.
Welcome to Read, Watch, Play, your dive into the stories we love and how they're adapted. This week, Nick has dragged me penniless to the naval of this country to record episode 44. My name is Randy Berridge, and I'm here with the amazing Amy spin-off character, Neanderthal Nick. Here we go.
I hate you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's not a lot of good adjectives for, like, that I could rhyme with Nick, or not rhyme. Alliteration, is that what it is when you go back-to-back letters?
Nice would have been a cool one. Or
I'm not going that.
Oh.
It was naughty. Naughty was an option.
That would have been funny.
Needy.
That's also a little true. So,
what are we covering here?
Yeah, so today we are covering Gone Girl, the book published by American author Gillian Flynn in 2012 and adapted very shortly after in 2014.
For some reason, I really thought you were going to call her Gillian, and I was just waiting for it to roast you. But
Didn't I? No, I said it. It's Gillian, right?
You said it right, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Gillian. Yeah. But I was just expecting you to go Gillian. Or what is it now? Now I'm confused.
Man,
I think
you've put so much doubt in my head right now.
Yeah, what did you say the first time?
Gillian.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Gillian.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Because I found like a video of someone like saying it, and that's what they said.
Yeah.
Because I went back and forth on that, and I was like, let me get this right. And now you're making me think that I watched the dumbest guy on YouTube, and I'm about to be the second dumbest.
I think you're right, because I've done this before. I had other discussion points, and I'm going to go completely sideways on it. Have you read any of her others? Did you read Sharp Objects? Did you watch that? I never saw that either.
No. This was my first foray into their work.
You didn't want to say their name, did you? You just got nervous.
I did.
Little gun shy.
Yeah. This is a whole DV situation now.
Yeah, it is. I'm in your head. Yeah, no, I've heard good things about Sharp Objects, the book, and I feel like it was a mini series. And some of the thoughts I heard were they stretched it a little too much to make it into a mini series, where it was good.
Okay.
They probably just could have done it as a movie and saved everyone 4 hours. But I'd like to check out the book. I've heard good things. I know it was well regarded. I forget what the other one. I think it was Dark. I wrote it down. Dark Places. Yeah, Dark Places was another popular one. But yeah, no, this was my first foray as well. I want to ask off the top. Maybe this is more book, but this is a unique book structure. I'm not sure I've read anything quite like this in terms of that structure. I don't know. Can you think of any other book structures where you're getting these diary entries mixed with real time?
No, normally these types of diary entries end up being like very short, like epigraphs, right before a chapter. But nothing jumps out. I'm sure that this has at least been done since then in something I've read, but I can't think of something that predates it. It was really interesting, and I liked the 3-part structure to the book as well.
Yeah, I always love when books break up into acts, so I kind of know where I'm at. And I guess especially if there's a table of contents and it tells me how many acts there are, I can kind of ground myself and where I'm at in the story. I love that in movies too. Like I love when you get a title card in the middle of a movie and you go to like a next part of the movie. It's like Act 1 is done. I know like Tarantino's done things like that in the past, or I always enjoy that. I don't know. You don't get it as much these days. I think it used to be way more common back in the day. So I always appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to give a spoiler warning right here. So for the next like minute or two, Randy and I are about to talk about the plot on this book.
Want me to hit the plot synopsis and then we can just move on from there? That way, in case anybody is interested in the window dressing of the story, they can go check it out. And then we can just say, after I read this plot summary, we're full spoilers from here on out.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen Gone Girl or read the book, it is about perfect New York couple, Nick and Amy Dunn, who leave the city and return to Nick's hometown of North Carthage, Missouri. after they both lose their jobs during the recession and they need to care for Nick's mother, who was recently diagnosed with cancer. On the morning of July 5th, the date of their anniversary, Nick returns home from the bar, named The Bar, that he co-owns with his twin sister Margot, to find his wife missing. There is an initial rallying behind the hometown guy, as many are sympathetic to this nightmare scenario. But as more clues appear in the form of a staged struggle, badly cleaned bloodstains, his innocence comes into question, with their neighbor crying out during a candlelight vigil, "Where's your wife, Nick? What did you do to your pregnant wife?" That is the story of Gone Girl. If you haven't read it, haven't seen the movie, yeah, I think it's for sure worth checking out, especially if you like the crime genre. But we're going to be full spoilers from here on out. Yeah, I mean, the story weaves in some interesting ways, so I don't want you to be spoiled if you haven't read or seen this one, so go check it out first. Now, from here on out, spoilers.
Okay, so unfortunately, I watched the movie actually a couple times. I'd seen the movie
Yeah,
before, so I read the book, so I knew everything that was going on. However, what I thought the book did really well and what was really fun for me was how the entire first act is really focused on Nick and these diary entries that they
yeah,
allude to in the movie. You see some of them in the movie a little bit, but it's really building this narrative. And then you hit part 2, and the first chapter is Amy going, "Oh, I totally fucked this guy. Like, this is what I did. This is
yeah,
how I did it. And I'm going to tell you why." And I thought that was really fun. I thought that made it completely changed how you read the book from there
yeah,
on. It's cool. It's almost like a before and after type reading experience.
yeah.
So for that reason, I know we'll probably hit this later, but I definitely recommend reading the book if you don't know what's going on or haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I watched the movie first, and I had really delayed on watching it, mainly because this will happen sometimes with adaptations where I know I want to read the book, so I kinda put off the movie. I've done that with Mystic River. It's a by Shutter Island author, Dennis
Mhm.
Lehane. I haven't watched that movie. It came out like 15 years ago because I keep telling myself that I'm gonna read the book, which I have sitting here, and I just have not. And I did this with Gone Girl, but finally, my fiance, and this is one of her favorite movies, and I finally caved, and I was like, "All right, let's just watch it. I'll get to the book when I get to the book." But reading it after seeing it, I mean, those diary entries in the first half they're just diabolical. Like,
Yes.
when you know what this is building towards, it almost makes it an even better. I don't know what's better, having if you had read the book first or if you had watched the
Yeah.
movie first, but man, reading it knowing what this is building towards, it was such an enjoyable experience, just because you could just assess everything she's saying a little bit more. It was just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Man." I mean, both of them are absolutely psychotic in their own ways, but I was like, "Wow, Amy really put a lot of time into this with with the diary." Because, I mean, when you watch the movie, do you remember what your thinking was in the beginning of the movie? Like, were you truly assuming that Amy was dead? Like, do you recall? I mean, this came out a bit ago, so if you saw it early, probably not.
No, and here's why. I don't remember the details of it, but do you remember after the book and after the movie came out, there was some case and they were like, this is a Gone Girl scenario. And they kept like it
Yeah,
became like a real life thing.
yeah,
Kind of figured out what was going on there.
yeah,
Also, the movie came out in 2014. It's been 11 years. People had spoiled it pretty quickly. I
yeah,
feel like even in like post college world, I knew what this was about because everybody, it's like when you see, what's that? The Bruce Willis thing. Bruce Willis is dead. What movie is that?
Sixth
Why am I
Sense.
blanking? Yeah. It's like, I've never seen The Sixth Sense because I know exactly how it ends. Because every time somebody sees it, they want to tell you about the twist. It's
Yeah,
kind of the same thing with here. This was so exciting for people,
yeah,
which is awesome. Like, I love that for the movie and the book and, everybody involved. Not great if you're late to watching it.
yeah, yeah. You know, it's interesting because I totally feel the same, but then it's funny. I mean, we both just said how enjoyable it was to read Amy's entries knowing what happened. So then I'm like, okay, I'm actually wrong in my bias when I think about that, or I think, oh, well, I'm not going to go watch that now because I already know what happens. Where I'm like, it's still really enjoyable and just adds a new, but you do miss out on the surprise. I can't remember if I don't think I knew. I was pretty unspoiled. I had suspicions
Hmm.
because this was touted as something that had a huge twist in it. So I'm thinking, okay, something big has to happen here between this. Like, it's not all what it's not just going to be as cookie
Right.
cutter as Nick murdered Amy and he's trying to get away with it. Not going to be what I mean. It's also Fincher off the heels of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was another Gone Girl situation, right before this. So I had some suspicions, but I can't say I knew exactly what Amy was up to. So it was still pretty surprising to me when I first saw the movie, which was just this year for the first time. But yeah, I don't know. If you could be unspoiled for this, I feel like that's probably a pretty awesome experience.
And if you are spoiled for it, the book does it in a way that's still very exciting.
Yeah, still super enjoyable. Yeah, before we even go deeper on this, I'm just curious, like, wh- how, what are your thoughts on Affleck? Like, are you an Affleck guy? Do you like his movies? Are you a fan? Like, any takes you got on Ben Affleck?
I I am not going to sit here and be one of those guys that just craps on Ben Affleck because it's the cool thing to do.
Yeah,
That being said, I think Ben Affleck is an incredibly gifted writer and an incredibly gifted director
yeah,
and an okay actor.
yeah.
Like, I think this might be my favorite Ben Affleck performance.
Hmm.
Um, The Town is an awesome movie,
So good.
not because of his acting. He he did enough for it to be
Yeah,
good there. I think he did enough in Good Will Hunting because he was in that limited supporting role. I think that's kinda where he fits as an actor,
yeah,
but as a storyteller, I think he's very underrated.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's just had such an interesting career where, I mean, he pretty much launched with Damon, into the stratosphere with Good Will Hunting that they did together. And for
They
a
won
long
an Oscar
Yeah,
on their first movie.
and for a long time, I think especially right after, like, Damon was the guy. He was the one who really launched out of that.
Yeah.
But I would say, in this, maybe the second half of these intervening years since then, Affleck has really built a cool and interesting filmography.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's had a variety of experiences, whether he's writing or directing. He won an Oscar for Argo, and I feel like some people
Argo
kind
was
of
a good one.
kind of poop on Argo a little bit as just being like a little bit, generic movie, but I love Argo. I don't care what anyone says.
It's
Um,
good.
I thought Argo was great. Yeah,
Dude, he wrote and starred and directed in The Town.
yeah,
He, I think, was a writer and director in Argo as well. He directed Air, the 2023 thing about Michael Jordan. Like,
yeah. That was a good
it's
movie.
he's I think he's really talented. I
Yeah,
just as an actor, he's not my favorite, but I mean, like, listen, Pearl Harbor, I think, was just objectively a ridiculous movie
yeah,
for everybody that was involved on the cast. It's not like Ben Affleck made that movie bad. That movie was just goofy. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how else to put that. They tried to do too much. It wasn't cool. It was fun when I was 12.
yeah,
Didn't hold up when I was 15. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
No, I totally hear what you're saying. I mean, and Ben Affleck as an actor is the thing where I don't think he's never bad or a weak point in the movie. It just doesn't
Right.
feel like he has the range that great actors maybe have. But, he can usually hold a role or especially, I
Mhm.
mean, this I don't know, this Nick Dunn character feels like it was designed for Ben Affleck, also just given what has gone on in Ben Affleck's personal life. Like, this is
Yes.
this is Ben Affleck on screen, so this is, like, the perfect role I couldn't imagine anyone else doing it.
Yeah. No, I think, like I said, this is my favorite Ben Affleck role. I think he
Yeah.
was really the right guy for this job. I do. I think it's so funny because every time I think about Ben Affleck, I think about the documentary about J-Lo
Mhm.
and her making the worst movie of all time. And there's two things. Is one scene in that where they asked Ben Affleck why the marriage didn't work the first time, and he said for him, he likes his relationships to be more private, and she made everything very public. And then, of course, he's in this documentary now.
Yeah.
Like, she made him do that, right? Which was hysterical. And then the second thing is she's like talking to him about a scene. And I mean, keep in mind, this is like last year, right? So this is like Ben Affleck is, I think, firing on all cylinders at this point when it comes to writing and directing. And he's like, I see what you're trying to do, but like, he's like giving her like very soft advice, right? Like very nicely. And he's like, can I just, and he starts writing something and she just like ignores him. And I'm like, if I'm married to Ben Affleck and he's telling me this scene doesn't work, but I can make it work if I do this, I'm doing like,
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm taking those notes.
What do you mean you're not taking those notes?
Yeah.
I just, and then it was the worst movie of all time. And I thought that was hysterical.
What movie was it?
It's the musical she made. What is?
Yeah, because I actually haven't seen their documentary. Is that something I should check out?
Yes. Well, okay. It is bad. It is a train wreck. It is a train wreck of epic proportion. Yeah. But I could not look away. Yeah. I was pumped the whole time. I think you should watch it. I'm just warning you, it's not like groundbreaking. Yeah. The movie's called This Is Me Now.
Okay.
It's a 2024 American romantic drama musical film.
Yeah. No, I'll check it out. No, I feel pretty similarly. I mean, he's and just thinking even of just where Ben Affleck is in the culture with the memes or GIFs posted of him, everyone looks like it could be a deleted scene of Nick Dunn from this movie. Where you think about him smoking the cigarette standing there, J-Lo getting out of the car and him just looking like so annoyed and then shutting the door of like everything looks like Nick Dunn. Like this movie was designed for him, for better or for worse.
Yeah. But honestly, fair enough.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was actually just wondering as we were talking what he has coming up next. He has a movie coming out next year reuniting with Damon called The Rip, where after a team of Miami cops discovers millions of cash inside a stash house, trust phrase as everyone and everything is called into question. That is catnip tagline for me.
Yeah, you think I'm not going to be there?
Damon Affleck, stash house with millions of dollars, Miami.
Yes.
This sounds like 2020's Bad Boys. I'm in.
We're missing George Clooney and Brad Pitt. That's the only thing this movie doesn't have. And maybe it does have it and we don't know. Yeah,
I know. But yeah, I feel the same. I just wanted to see where you were at on Affleck these days. I mean, an interesting one. I mean, this whole thing it feels like a bit of a time capsule as I was rewatching it, where I was like, wow, Neil Patrick Harris, this is probably peak How I Met Your Mother years. I don't know the run years of that show, but I'm assuming it was around this time.
Probably.
You know, Ben Affleck was really popular at this. I mean, he still is, but he was extremely popular at this point. He was just gearing up for Batman. Emily Ratajkowski, I was like, wow, what a throwback to the time. This is when like the Blurred Lines music video was coming out. I was like, this movie, watching it, this felt like such a early to mid 2010s movie. I was just like, this is an interesting just slip back 10 years ago. You seem like a guy who liked How I Met Your Mother. Did you watch that show?
Didn't.
You didn't?
Not straight through.
I feel like you'd like it.
Yeah, I like what I watched of the show. Like, it was fine. It wasn't my favorite of those like group sitcom shows. I think I was more into The Office, Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Now we're watching the new one, The Paper.
The Paper.
So funny. You have
I've
to
heard
watch
good
it.
things. Yeah.
There's a few things they're still working out.
Yeah.
But overall, I think as a season one, it's better than Parks and Rec and The Office. Now, will the entire show be that? Too soon to tell.
Yeah.
But like out of the gate, it's working.
Yeah.
There's like very few exceptions for me that aren't working.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. We've been in need of a sub like 40-minute show to watch.
This is it.
Because like sometimes, I don't know, like say you've had a long day, we settle down to dinner too late, or after dinner, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be up for another hour. And then you go to throw on an episode of something and you see it's an hour and 8 minutes. I'm like, oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Does Wednesday really need to be an hour long episode? Like, can these be 35 minutes? But back to Gone Girl. Before we really get into the meat of this episode, just some things that we like, or at least I know I like a lot, and I believe you do too, and just sort of themes that are here. I love that this brings back the unreliable narrator. I
Yep.
It's such an enjoyable trope for me in writing. And I love just like books, movies, whatever it is that have that retro or record scratch moment where you're like, that we talked about, where she goes into the cool girl speech and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here? So I just wanted to throw out two recommendations at the top where if you like that without spoiling, I feel like Parasite has a similar, whoa, what is going on here in this movie
Yes.
moment. And another recent one, Strange Darling,
I haven't
has a
seen that.
lot in common with Gone Girl. And
Okay.
I'd check those out for anybody. If you're a Gone Girl movie fan, I mean, I'm sure everyone has seen Parasite at this point. Strange Darling is a little less seen. But yeah, I love those. I just love that moment, and such a great feeling as reading a book when you're like, wait, it takes a twist that you don't even expect. I have some pew pews for you. And then I
Okay.
say, let's just get into the book here, even though we've been talking about the book already.
I would say I don't have that much more on the book that I wanted to
Yeah.
hit, but we'll hit whatever you want.
Yeah. We've covered 3 Fincher adaptations. I think he's our highest director right now, which is not even intentional. We've covered Gone Girl, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Fight
Mhm.
Club. How do you Is there another one?
Have we only done 2 DVs?
We did both Dunes. Yeah, that was it.
We haven't done any of his other movies.
No. And we've
Are you
done 2 Scorseses between Casino and oh no, we've done 3 Scorsese. We've done Casino, Goodfellas, and Killers of the Flower Moon. So he's
Yeah.
neck and neck with Fincher right now.
And we're gonna do Arrival, which is a DV movie,
And
right?
Shutter Island is Scorsese. So Scorsese's going to go up to
Scorsese's
4.
about to be.
He's about to
Yeah.
be, top dog. But of those 3, rapid fire, how do you rank those adaptations? 1 to 3
Ooh.
of the Fincher ones we've done. I thought I
I
knew my
think
answer until I wrote this down. I'm like, I have no idea, actually.
I think Fight Club and then Gone Girl
Mhm.
is my 1-2. And the only reason I'm putting Fight Club 1 is because it was more of a cultural phenomenon
Yeah.
than Gone Girl. Gone Girl did very well in the box office. You're
Yeah.
gonna get into that, I know, but and Gone Girl was super successful and it was great.
Yeah.
But Fight Club transcended that.
I agree.
And
Yep.
that's why you have to put Fight Club 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, if we're going from the perspective of adaptations and just everything surrounding it, Fight Club for sure is my number 1. I would have said, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, purely book is my favorite.
Mhm.
I just love that book so much. And heading into this, I would have said Gone Girl's number 3 just because it's the newest for me. But
Mhm.
rewatching the movie, I'm like, man, this movie fires.
It does.
It's a really good movie. So I'm choosing between these 3 is, I don't know, it's like choosing between cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza, and, a super, I don't know, what's a third great pizza? Meat Lover Supreme? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Pick between your 3 favorite pizzas.
Between your 3, I love all of them.
Yeah.
So 1 being third is still a very high compliment. All right, next question. Who's crazier? Diary Amy, Real Amy, Nick, or Desi?
Real Amy. I don't even think that's a question.
Yeah. Yeah, she's diabolical. Desi is pretty wild, though.
Yeah, but no, Amy.
I just wanna know what is concerning for me is what is Desi's long-term strategy here with Amy? 'Cause it's very creepy. It just gives me a lot of ick. Now, does giving someone ick and does getting your throat slashed with a box cutter comparable transgressions? Probably not, but Desi gives me the ick.
Yeah, awful human. Awful, awful, awful human. I still think Amy tops that, though.
Yeah, I think so. If you have to go off the grid, where would you go? I'm sorry you have to out this on a podcast for everybody to find you now.
Yeah, I don't think I can answer that question.
Tell you where I'm not going. Wherever Amy went. Ozarks? No thanks. Not worth it.
Okay, nothing good has ever happened in the Ozarks in cinema. I mean, think about the show Ozark just itself and everything that happens there. Plus, this is the Ozarks. I can't think of one movie where everyone goes on vacation to the Ozarks and they're happy and they all come home alive.
Yeah.
Name one.
I don't mean to downplay toxic relationships. I don't know. Unreliable in area. I don't know if Nick was physically abusive or if that was Diary Amy. There would have to be, I don't know what would have to be so wrong in my relationship for me to willingly go to a cabin in the Ozarks. Like what, I don't know what has gone on to push me to that place. So maybe Amy is right. If she is willing to go there, maybe I gotta listen to her a little bit more here. Just can't do it.
I don't know. I don't know what to do about Amy, to be honest with you.
I don't have much. We already hit some of the other things Flynn has written, and you had said, this came out in 2012. It was a hit. I mean, this book has sold over 20 million copies.
That's crazy.
I know. She said she put a lot of herself into Nick, which sounds weird, but it was more from the writing perspective and losing her job during the recession. So she was putting a lot of herself into that. And she was also a magazine writer. So, I think that's a little bit of where Amy's side comes in with her questionnaire background. But this is her biggest hit. And this book was a phenomenon when it came out. I'm surprised I didn't read it then. But I mean, we've hinted around it, but overall, how'd you feel about the book?
It's great. And like I said, it's great. I struggled in the beginning.
Yeah.
But here's what I went back and listened to a few of our old episodes. I listen to and read a lot of like fantasy, sci-fi, like these big epic things, right? And I do it enough to where sometimes I have trouble adjusting to like different styles of book because yes, fantasy and sci-fi are different and the authors portray things differently, but it's all kind of within a spectrum.
Yeah.
But then I read these books that are outside of that. And it happens a lot where it takes me like, I don't know, the first few chapters to really be able to, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm diving in, I'm hooked, I'm reading. And I did have that here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a testament to the book. I think that's a me thing. But I mean, I even told you that when we were in the Outer Banks, I was like struggling.
Yeah.
But then I gave it a few more and I flew through the end of part 1 through the end of the book. I crushed it.
Yeah. I mean, and that could be a product too. I mean, even in the movie, the beginning, I think the movie is amazing, but even that setup, something just doesn't feel quite right because of the way Amy is trying to portray things. And you're going through a lot of like all of their lovey-dovey coming together scenes in book and movie. It feels wrong or like almost bad and you don't know why. But then once you understand the story, you're realizing it's because Amy is fabricating all of this, or at least embellishing a little bit of their early parts. So it makes way more sense, but it is almost post things are going well in their marriage to the mystery of this all really kicks off. I do feel there is like a little bit of I gotta get into this, and I feel like that's probably what it is. I don't think I flew through the beginning of this book or either, but once it got its teeth in me, couldn't get them out. I just ripped through this book. Anything surprising to you from the book compared to the movie that stuck out as different, better, worse?
I think I think the book and the movie have different pacings on when you find out what's really going on with Amy.
Yeah.
And the book lets you the book also has a lot more of the entries from the diary, and it has some things that really had to be cut out of the movie.
Yeah.
So there's enough that it expanded on from the movie for me that it was still interesting. And I did really like that. However, from a storytelling perspective, I think all of the things they cut out made perfect sense. And it almost made me appreciate the quality of the movie more after reading the book.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I I thought it was a really solid adaptation, when we get into that. I mean,
Yes.
the book expanded it in perfect ways of what I wanted. Like, you get so much more Nick inner monologue
Yes.
because you can be in Nick's head, where, even in movie Amy, you have the luxury of she can narrate her entries a little bit as you're
Mhm.
going through what seems like dream or flashback sequences, where you don't get that with Nick still in the movie. And you have a little bit less understanding of what is actually going on in Nick's head as Ben Affleck, where in the book you get a lot more insight as to what he's thinking about through this entire process. And reading it, I'm like, wow, this guy is even dumber than I thought he was, or less rational than I thought he was. Like, he really just doesn't get what's going on here and how what he's doing is impacting everyone's perception of him, this investigation. And that was, I think, really a great addition to just my understanding of the story, was getting more inside Nick's head and realizing this guy's just a dumbass, like a true dumbass.
Yeah, not a good guy. I think the quality of character of Nick Dunn becomes more evident in the book a little bit faster
Yeah,
because of what you just said about the inner monologue. And he his it's weird because in the book you really see like his lack of paying attention, his lack of listening, his lack of understanding what his wife needs
yeah,
is really a product of him.
yeah,
Whereas in the movie, there's some question about who is really doing what here. In the
yeah,
book, with that inner monologue, you're like, oh, you were an absentee husband for a long time.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get so much more depth. I think they do a great job of portraying it in the movie, but you have the luxury of so much more time with Nick.
Right.
Because I mean, I read this on Kindle, but I feel like it's a decently long book.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
4 to
Oh,
500
yeah.
pages, right? I think the other surprising thing, the movie is funny, but I do think the book has much more biting social commentary than the movie in some ways, where there are some I wrote down this exact line when Nick in the book meets the woman who takes the selfie with him, who's, like, making him the Frito casserole or whatever, and Nick describes
Yeah.
her saying, "The woman's voice was loud and annoying, a bit like a bray of some enchanted donkey." I I cackled so loud in bed at, like, 7 a.m. reading this. Like, literally under the covers trying not to
Yeah.
wake up Alyssa. It could just be really, or Amy's just absolute repulsion at middle America, suburbs, talking about the food, Costco slander, blonde wedge haircuts. Like, some of that, it's so heightened to, I think, not only make you dislike, Amy or Nick, but it's really commenting on a perspective some people have taken to, like, really dramatic lengths, and some of that stuff in the book was, like, so funny because there's a grain of truth to it, but I thought some of that book social commentary was just really great that they just didn't have time to fully explore in the
Yeah.
movie, so I enjoyed that stuff.
Well, that's a good point. It really did have quite a few of those moments, actually.
Yeah. Amy railed against anywhere outside of a city for, like, 300 pages, it felt like. Like, truly detested. Like, hey, anybody can live where they want. There were, like, some things she said where I just laughed a little bit hard at, 'cause I'm a city I like downtowns, I like cities. So I was like, "Yeah, I get Amy. I don't wanna eat this Frito casserole shit."
I would say Amy hated casseroles.
Yeah, I hate casserole. I despise a casserole. So I get where Amy's coming from on some of these, Do I wanna be compared to Amy? No. But Amy, I kinda get you here on this point.
All right, listeners, how alike are Amy and Randy on a
Yeah,
scale of 1 to 2?
yeah. 1 to Karen haircut. Um I mean, that is, though, like, a bit of a segue. I mean, that is a really interesting part of this book. I mean, it's interesting because I saw all of this in 2025, this
Mhm.
book, and it's weird to say that something that came out in 2012 was so ahead of its time because it's really not that long ago. But you have to think this book is pre Me Too movement, pre, the Karen memes, pre kind of like, making fun of those type of, wedge haircut, pre Ben Affleck really being that almost like public example of kind of a checked out, annoyed husband. And it feels normal for me watching this now, having, lived through all this the past 10 years. But this book was really hitting on things going on in society before we were all even there.
Yeah.
And playing with your expectations, like in the movie, when Amy comes back and, all the male cops are wanting to believe her, and take care of her and protect her. And then there's the female cop who's like, what's going on here? And it's like playing with all of those expectations that might happen in this situation in just ways that were, to me, I was like, wow, this was really hitting on things that we hadn't even reckoned with as a society yet. I was like, she was hitting on some key things. Not that either of us probably have any insight into gender politics that we can get into here, but I was like, wow.
No, yeah, mm-mm.
No, yeah. I don't know. Anything else you got on the book?
No, and honestly, we've hit a decent number of things I had on the movie too already.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tee up the movie with some background. I mean, came out in 14 from David Fincher, as we talked about. It was produced by Reese Witherspoon, who was originally she wanted to produce this and wanted to play Amy. And
Really?
and the book was optioned right after it came out to 20th Century Fox. And the stipulation that Flynn put into this was that she would get the first crack at the screenplay. She wanted to write the draft. And she said she started to study successful adaptations. She was meeting with screenwriters. She spent a lot of time, she said, with Steve Kloves, who wrote the Harry Potter movies and was converting the source
Okay.
material there. And Fincher developed a really strong rapport with her and just kept her on as his writing partner for this and drafting it and converting it. And, he said he typically likes to have some separation from the author because maybe they can be a little bit too overbearing on their source material and beholden to some things. But he said he really enjoyed working with Flynn, and he responded to the first draft and her sensibilities. And I guess because of her magazine experience, she said she had a lot of background in how to pare things down for different mediums.
Okay.
And Flynn said that Fincher provided a ton of guidance and, gave her some key adaptation advice that, we don't have the ability to give the audience with the character's thoughts. So I need you, when you're writing the screenplay, to tell me how they're behaving. And we have to make that come across on screen because we can't be in Nick's head. And they just developed a really strong relationship over this. They were rewriting things, apparently dozens of times. I mean, Fincher's known to be pretty obsessive with his filmmaking. And she said it was an overwhelming process after it was done, condensing a 500-page novel down to this short screenplay. But she said it was a great experience. And she feels that nothing was so precious that it couldn't be cut for the movie. And she feels she was really happy with where Fincher went with choosing what to bring and what to leave behind. So sounds like she had a pretty interesting experience as a screenwriter, doing this
Compared to
adaptation, which is
most.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get to work directly with David Fincher, it seems like it's kind of starting from the, halfway through the race. You know what I
Seriously.
mean? Like,
Yeah. And someone who has a track record of success with adaptations.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I think that the Gone Girl movie did a
Mhm.
really good job keeping the major beats,
Yeah.
right? When she says nothing was so precious that it couldn't be cut out, maybe, but you also really stayed very true to the novel you wrote, the Gone Girl novel. So
Yeah.
I don't like no notes. Like, this was awesome.
Yeah. I think the only aspect I wish we had slightly more time for in the adaptation was, I think, the ending. In the book, you really get this sense that Nick is truly going back to Amy. And as a reader, you're like, I can't believe I'm watching this before my very eyes. Him truly like wanting to go back. And in the movie, you only get that scene with Go where she's crying and she's like, I can't believe you want to stay with her. And the book, you just had a little bit more runway to explore Nick sliding back into this relationship and just these two sociopaths needing each other
Mm-hmm.
that you just didn't quite have time for in the movie. I mean, and that is like a nitpick, from my end, not necessarily like this made the adaptation lesser for me. I just really enjoyed that aspect of the book that we had more time for that.
I feel like the Gone Girl movie actually changed my opinion of what Nick was feeling in that moment.
Yeah. Tell me.
In Gone Girl, the movie, it felt more like Nick was trapped.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling people he wanted to go back because he had to, but he realized he couldn't get out from under Amy's, I don't want to say spell, but like control.
Yeah.
Whereas in the book, exploring those inner monologues gave it a very different feel that I wasn't expecting when I read the book.
Yeah.
When I read Gone Girl.
No, I totally agree. We've talked a lot about Amy, but we haven't really mentioned Rosamund Pike playing Amy, who, unbelievable.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable. Yes. I don't know how she's not been in more stuff since this. I don't know if she got pigeonholed into being kind of this sort of Ice Queen type character. I know she was in that I Care a Lot in 2020. She was in Saltburn. And I think she was in the Wheel of Time adaptation, which I didn't watch on Amazon Prime.
She was, and she was awesome in the Wheel of Time adaptation.
But, I mean, she is fantastic in this movie, I feel like.
Yeah. Did she step away for, like, personal?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, because, I think you head into this and you expect Ben Affleck to be solid. But I think the casting of this movie, and I know Fincher is a pretty, what is the word I'm looking for? Maybe just competent caster. Like he's got a real attention to detail there. I feel like the casting in this movie is unbelievable. I mean, top to bottom, supporting characters, but the find of Rosamund Pike for this Amy character, I can't even imagine Reese Witherspoon as. I just don't think that would have worked in my mind. But Rosamund is incredible, I think.
I'm looking through her filmography right now, and I'm wondering if she didn't hit a point where she just got very selective with roles, because it looks like she's doing like one thing a year from like 2015 to 2020, where it kind of picks up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but you thought she was excellent in this too?
Oh, of course. I think she's excellent in everything she does. I think she's a very talented actress.
Yeah, I mean, there's a magical thing with adaptations, and the reason we do this show is when you read a great book scene and that comes to life in a way that is pitch perfect for what you read, and that cool girl speech she does when the movie flips, I mean, just knocks it out of the park. I think that is probably the most famous and lived on thing from this movie is her speech there and the record scratch twist. That, I mean, she is just lights. I read that scene and I was vibrating. I was like, this is unbelievable writing one. And then to see her do that on screen it was just out of this world. It was lights out. She was so great in that scene. Yeah, I mean, not to jump the gun there. I think that is my favorite scene of this movie is that switch in the middle and her driving in the car. I don't know. Does that, like, do you think, I don't know, was that the standout for you? Like book or movie, that scene? Or was there a different part that like really lit you up?
Definitely in the book. Chapter 1 of section 2 was maniacal.
Yeah.
And awesome to read, just like from an entertainment perspective. In the movie Gone Girl, I don't know that there was one particular moment that jumped out at me like that because of, like we said, the whole movie from start to finish was done really well. So I felt like in Gone Girl, there was moments just every 30 minutes that I was jaw dropping.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I jotted down a few scenes in chronological order. I'll run
And
down
you're
them.
about to hit one every 30
I'm
minutes.
about to hit one every 30 minutes. You tell me if there's any you want to talk about or if I'm missing any. I thought Nick, after it's just so funny saying Nick because your name's Nick. Like
I know, I
feel
don't like that this is happening. Yeah.
Nick's first time at the station after Amy has gone missing. And it's the first time, what is it, Boney? What is the female police officer's name? I'm trying to blanking. Whoever, what is it? I'm going to do the annoying thing of look it up while we're talking. Boney. Yeah, Rhonda Boney. When she's first doing her questioning of Nick and he's like kind of confused and she's asking him like, you know, what does your wife do all day? And he's like, well, she's a voracious reader. And she's like, well, there's a lot of time in a day. You know, who are her friends? She doesn't have any friends. What's her blood type? And then when Ben Affleck leaves and, and the other officer's like, should I know my wife's blood type? And she's like, no. I just love that whole scene where you go from her missing to the mystery is kind of unfurling a bit. I thought it was a really good scene. The Andy reveal, where when I'm watching this the first time and Nick has the burner phone, you're kind of thinking, if you don't know the story, I'm like, could he be actually texting Amy? And is this a whole ruse between the two of them? And you're wondering, what is he doing on this phone? You know, he's driving with his dad and it's like ringing in the glove box. And, you know, then someone texts him and says, I'm outside. And you're like, oh no, like this is a whole setup. And then Andy busts through the door and you're like, wow, this guy is a colossal idiot. I thought that scene was so good. What did you think?
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I think that scene in particular, like of this list you're doing, that scene in particular is going to be pretty high on the list of like, because that's almost, what'd you call it? Like a record scratch twist as well. Because you're at that point, you're still feeling like maybe he didn't do it or whatever, because you don't know yet.
You don't know.
But then that happens and you're like, I think Nick did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you think that is sleeping with Andy at his sister's house in the midst of the investigation of his wife's murder or who knows, kidnapping? Is that the dumbest thing Nick does?
I don't know if it's the dumbest, but it's certainly one of the worst.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, he's just an idiot. And also, I did not realize till we watched this yesterday because I hadn't watched. Oh, sorry. I feel like I've been watching a lot of stuff with Carrie Coon lately. I mean, she was in White Lotus this year.
Mm-hmm.
We've been watching The Leftovers from HBO, and I did not realize the first time I watched this that Carrie Coon is Margot, and she's so good in this as his twin sister.
Yes.
Margot's excellent.
Yeah.
And when she's there in the kitchen, when Andy walks out, and she's just like, "You got to be kidding me!" Just, oh, Nick.
One of the can I
please
continue down that go train for a second?
Yeah.
So one of the things the Gone Girl book did really well was that moment where, again, it's the end of Act 1. He finds actually, I guess this is part in Act 2. He had just found the shed in her backyard is full of all the stuff he said he's never heard of or bought. And he goes and tells Go. And Go gives Nick this look. And in the book, it's his inner monologue. And he said, we'll never get past this moment where there was, for at least a second, where she thought I was confessing by showing her all of this.
Yeah.
And I think you get that moment in the movie. And that's a several page monologue about one tiny thing. And you have 2-3 seconds to pull that off in a movie.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard, well executed here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done.
Carrie Coon's phases of how she relates to her twin brother is unbelievable in her acting in this movie. I mean, going from steadfast twin we know and go through everything together, to the questioning, to the coming back and being on his side, to the anger, the betrayal, the skepticism. It is, she's so good in this movie.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's overlooked. I think, she gets a lot of credit for it, but, when you're also having Ben Affleck giving probably, as you said, probably his best performance as Nick, and Rosamund Pike as Amy, it's hard to make space and, but every time I watch this, I'm like, Go is incredible. Carrie Coon is so good in this movie. That whole scene at the end where she's crying on the kitchen floor is, that is like the most heartbreaking moment for me, where I'm like, this guy just is a colossal asshole. Next scene I had was the visual, because this is when you get the big reveal from what is
one of the big reveals.
Yeah, one of the big reveals. What does Amy call her? The local idiot comes storming in and drops the pregnancy bit. Andy's in the crowd. What is she mouthing to Nick? I forget, when he's like giving his
you're an asshole or something.
Yeah, he's like, you're a fucking asshole. When Nick's just like finally gearing up, finally acting like the distressed husband. He's playing this vigil finally right. And then here comes the neighbor and just blows it all up, and then Nick's running away. And I think that's the breaking point too between the parents and Nick.
Yes.
The Andy reveal is the real break, but this I think is the first huge chink in the armor. But that scene, it's crazy. This is also too because in the beginning with the diary entries, Amy's telling more real life aspects, and you don't realize how much they're playing into what's going on now. But this is when you're just getting rapid fire Amy's plan dominoes falling, with, I think, of the house alarm going off that she reprogrammed, the friend she's been, coercing behind Nick's back. I mean, and you're just like, Amy, like, you have really thought this out. I already talked about the Amy day up scene, the switch and her heading to the Ozarks. I felt like the suicide was hinted on bigger in the book, like her end plan. She talks about it with the neighbor, and she has like the drowning scene a little bit. Do you think she was really going to commit suicide, or is this? I don't know. I can't see her doing it.
It doesn't feel. No, I don't think that was the intent. There was like, it was an actual thing. I think it was. It's hard. I don't know. I don't really want to.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tricky one to really.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine from what we know of Amy that she was seriously considering this.
Yes.
But you never know.
Right. That's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
But I felt like I even didn't really think much of it when I saw the movie the first time. But when I was reading the book, because she talks about it a lot more, that is her end game plan. And it's like, is this? Or, kind of how I felt to segue into the next portion of it was like she thought so much about the plan up through this point and messing with Nick, in this immediate week or so after. And you see when she gets to this cabin, she didn't really think the what's next piece. And not maybe the suicide was, just an easy answer to the end for her plan. Because like once she's at this cabin, she's really not thinking through things well here.
No.
Like she's being an idiot, a Nick Dunn idiot at this cabin.
Yeah, they deserved each other. That's when you realize maybe they were meant for each other.
Yeah. I mean, what is the rationale for bringing, I mean, I get you don't want to leave it in this shady cabin, but bringing all of your entire money in one place around you while you're mini golfing in summer heat with two strangers? I'm like, what? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because it felt like it was maybe not a commentary, but she grew up with money. She grew up in this privileged way. They
Yeah.
talk about that. And now she's finding herself in a place where things are harder. Not everybody comes from that lifestyle. And it felt like an eye-opening moment for her.
Yeah.
And she wasn't prepared for this because she had been so sheltered her whole life.
Yeah. And really I mean, she is assuming there is no way this bozo next door can pull one over on me, and really underestimates.
Right.
I don't remember the neighbor's name while they're there, but I know the guy's the guy from Narcos, Boyd Holbrook. Greta, that's her name. Yeah, she just really underestimates the whole situation and thinks she can
Yeah.
Amy her way out of it. Yeah, I get the whole cabin thing. I'm just like, Amy, what are you doing? What is your plan here? And then she goes back to Desi. I did not expect this when I was watching the movie for the first time. And when she becomes, Rapunzel in the castle here at his
Mhm.
lake house, I was just like, where is this going? And then I'm like, wow, you get a little bit more Desi in the book and understanding their backstory. But I kept wondering, like, how is this going to end with him? And then you're treated to, this was the most shocking scene of the movie for me, is when she kills him immediately post sex. I could not believe this. I think it's the most shocking scene in the movie.
Yeah. It's definitely the most unexpected because, I mean, you're wondering the whole time how she's getting out of this situation.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be that.
No. And I
'Cause
think,
there's a
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go for it.
I was gonna say, there's a big jump between what she's doing to Nick and actual murder.
Yeah. That is exactly what I was going to say. Where, I mean, you could, I don't know Missouri's stance on capital punishment, given, no shade at Missouri. I assume they're probably pro death penalty there. So I'm like, in a way, she is killing Nick through this process, but it does, to this point, it feels like she is trying to punish Nick and then potentially return to, yeah, I mean, to punish him for what he has done over these past
Yeah.
few years and not being able to keep up the sort of facade he had when they first started dating in marriage.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe she was actually capable, especially when she gets done over by Greta and other guy at the cabin. You think, oh, Amy is not actually that, not scary, but there's not as much teeth to her as originally portrayed. And then she does this. And I'm like, oh, no, Amy actually is an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
That she is going to just murder and stage him raping her and just be covered in his blood for the next, what seems like 4 days. I was like, I could not believe it.
Seriously. Yeah.
Because, I mean, originally when the scene sets up is when she's kind of like, you're getting to see real time her plans and actions, which we were seeing all the post effects with Nick. But with Desi, we're getting to see her twisting her arm, to make the engravings on her wrists.
Yeah.
Her screaming in the camera. And at that point, in my mind, I'm like, okay, she's just going to try and run out of this house and pretend that she has been captured by him and, been his sex slave or whatever she's going to portray to Nick, or not Nick, but just the world. And then she just kills him. And that was crazy. I mean, I think the next biggest scene is, the end of it was just Amy coming back. I could almost, I mean, it was shocking she killed him. Her showing back up in the driveway in the car, I just couldn't believe what was going on. I was just
In
the
the
first time.
Yeah, and she's covered head to toe in blood. Yeah.
Like, what? Dude, can we let her shower when she's in the police station? I was like, is this normal
No.
protocol?
No. You gotta go home, buddy.
That was not. I could not believe that she just came back in that moment. I thought there was.
Yeah, that was
That was just nuts. So running through those, I mean, what is your favorite scene of this movie?
favorite is a tough word given how like
What
dark this
do you think
is.
the best scene
But
of the movie is?
I think one of my best scenes is what we were talking about with the Act 2 moment where you have the shed full of everything.
Yeah.
I think that was a really well done scene. I also think the scenes at Nick's dad's house were really well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't even talk about those. Those I thought were just really well acted, well shot, impactful moments. And
You're
then
right.
you
Those are
also
great crime mystery scenes.
you
I
have
think
her in the but
so good.
yeah. Yeah, no, go ahead, keep going, yeah.
No, no, I was just gonna say, I mean,
That's
I'm glad you brought that up because it is so quintessential crime novel movie where there's the diary in the fireplace at the dad's house, and he puts it together, but not before the police put it together. It's so good. Yeah, that is a great scene that I overlooked. I love that
yeah,
one.
and 'cause he oh, man, it's Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe in the ballroom there, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just a lot of, like it's like a very serious moment. I really like that scene, and then the scene in the car, like you said, like,
yeah,
when you figure out exactly what's going on, you're like, "Oh, shit."
yeah,
That was fun. That was that was if I had to say favorite, that was like a that was the most mind-blowing.
yeah. Yeah, you're right, too, with the shed. The shed is just crazy the first time you watch it. Because you just, like, as a first-time viewer, you just don't know what is going on yet. Like, is Nick lying to us as the audience and doesn't really know where all this came from? Is he truly being set up? And that's when Nick starts to put together the pieces that he is being framed for murder. I think my most underrated scene, I'd say maybe, or just quietly favorite, is Nick starting to play into Amy's game on the media interview, him with Tyler Perry, who's excellent in this movie too, and Amy sitting there watching this with Desi. And I just feel like everyone in this scene cutting back and forth is doing such an incredible job of Nick finally turning it on and understanding how to play the game. Amy realizing Nick is playing on the game. Neil Patrick Harris, this is amazing acting of getting quietly frustrated and concerned about how much Amy is into watching this interview and trying to take her second creme brulee away from her. I was like, that scene is just so good where it plays with your expectations of where is this really going between all of these characters. I think that's a really underrated one.
Not a scene specifically, but
Yeah.
to what you just said about the unreliable narrator and not knowing where things are going, I think the movie did a really good, the book as well, just Gone Girl in general, does a really good job of making you question who is the unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
Because somebody's
Yeah.
lying here, but you have no idea who it is until, again, the second act. So
Yeah.
that whole first part of the movie and the first part of Gone Girl book, you're just questioning who's lying. Somebody's lying to me. Who is it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would think my if I think about, what is the answer to that question that you just put, like, who is lying to me? You find out I feel Amy is lying, obviously. It's either through
Hmm.
the first half, and it feels like Nick is lying to himself in a lot of ways, because in the book, you get a lot more of this Nick not wanting to be like his alcoholic, abusive father, womanizing father, but then also flipping to calling Amy a bitch and I want to kill her. And he's lying to himself that he is a good guy and trying to be a good guy, where it seems like Amy knows exactly what she's doing and why she's doing it.
Hmm.
So I think Nick is unreliable to himself, which makes him unreliable to us, and Amy is directly manipulating all of us, knowingly. It's straightforward.
Yeah, I like that. No, keep going. Yeah, that was awesome. Uh,
Yeah, because I think I've been thinking about this with when we rewatched this last night, and Alyssa
okay.
was asking me the question of, do you think because she listened to the audiobook recently, she's like, do you think the book is more sympathetic to either one of these characters versus the movie? And it's a tough question because, as you said, of like, who's the unreliable, like Nick, you get to see more of Nick in the book, but that doesn't mean you're more understanding of him. You're almost more judgmental of him in some ways. but also more understanding of he's just an idiot and not actually an evil person per se. He's just a bad guy, where Amy is evil, but it's so like enjoyably evil because of how well thought out some of these things are that you're like, I just can't believe I'm reading that she did this. So I don't know. Do you find one of the book or the movie more sympathetic to either one of them?
I think the movie is more sympathetic to Nick because you don't get those internal monologues.
Yeah.
And by not having all of them, Gone Girl, the movie, it's inherently harder to portray some of those things for Nick.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of including a lot of them, but not all of them. Whereas with Amy in Gone Girl, you get everything that she was doing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was intentionally them making something more sympathetic for Nick. I just think the lack of the ability to get all of Nick's internal monologues across in the Gone Girl movie makes it harder to really show those things you were just talking about.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, do you agree with what I was saying that, like, do you think Nick is unreliable to himself, and that's what makes it so confusing? Not confusing, but so up in the air.
Yeah, I love that. I hadn't considered that before you said it, but when you made that point, it just clicked, and I immediately agreed with everything you just said.
Yeah. I think it's just why this book's so good, or just love the story, and I don't think it can be understated, because if I were to have read this book first, I'd be like, how the hell do you adapt this? Where you're having diary entries, and to make that enjoyable to watch in a movie medium. And the fact that they did this and this movie rocks is incredible.
Dude, it rocks so hard. Yeah.
Like, they did such a good job of adapting this and figuring out how to make it make sense. I mean, even just like some of the cinematography tricks of the Amy scenes being like, there's like this pause, like fade, cut to black when it's going in and out of her doing diary entries in the movie, where it's just subtly signaling to you as watching this of like, something's not quite right with what I'm seeing here, but you don't know what it is yet. And they just did. I mean, maybe it's her, Flynn being involved in the writing as well, but they just did such a good job of converting this, which you would think is an unadaptable text.
Yeah, it makes me question if a different group of people would have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Or do it in a caliber that's even close to what happened. It just felt like it was the right group of people at the right time to pull something off like this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet he learned some lessons from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which I think is a less successful retelling of the story in movie format in terms of the plot beats and capturing, I still really like that movie, but I think, they just really nail it in Gone Girl of adapting this. Who do you think won the movie? Or actually, we didn't do best cast. Who is your favorite person in this movie, cast-wise?
I'm torn between Rosamund Pike and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that pairing was perfect for this role. And my gut is telling me to go Pike over Affleck as best cast. Because I think it's hard, because you want to say that the movie kind of needs to revolve around Amy nailing it.
Yeah.
But if Nick was portrayed any differently, it wouldn't have worked either.
Yeah.
Can I give it to both? Can we do a duel?
I know. We might just have to give it to both these psychopaths. Because
honestly,
Nick, it does not work if Nick Dunn. Ben Affleck just plays it so perfectly. He is Nick Dunn. And that's not to take anything away from Rosamund Pike, because she's also unbelievable, and they're both just so good. I don't think there's a weak link in terms of this cast and the performance. This is top to bottom. Everybody was incredible.
I will say, if you had told me the premise of the book and the cast, I would have said Neil Patrick Harris is going to be a weak link. And I would have had to eat that and apologize, because I think he did a very good job in his role.
He really did. And it's not like he has a ton of showy dialogue scenes. He's just having to do all reaction acting to Amy. and he just does it so well. You just know he does the perfect thing where you know exactly what this character is thinking without him having to say a single word.
Yes. Yes. He is by definition show don't tell in this adaptation of Gone Girl. And to be honest, when I think of him, I don't think of Neil Patrick Harris in a lot of serious roles. I think of How I Met Your Mother, like
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar, things like that. And he's a very good comedic actor. He makes me laugh a lot.
Yeah.
But in something more serious like this, I would have doubted, and I would have been wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, top to bottom, great. I love everybody in this movie. Who do you think wins the movie for you?
Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
because
He's great.
and I think unfairly, it became cool to make fun of Ben Affleck the same way people make fun of like Nickelback and Creed,
Yeah.
right? Which I don't get either, because
Yeah.
whatever, I don't just let people like what they like. But like Ben Affleck would get beat down so hard publicly, just
Mhm.
people ripping him, and you could just point to this and be like,
Yeah.
"You're wrong," and you can. It's just another entry of something that he's done really well that you can be like, just dude, just shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Leave Ben
Yeah.
Affleck alone.
I do think he wins. I would either say Ben Affleck wins the movie, or I mean, this is I would say I'm in my own head now for Gillian or Gillian Flynn. I I could give it to her as well for not only the original story, but coming on as the screenwriter,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I mean, hitting on things that we also didn't. I mean, this is pre-true crime boom, where this is like playing on society's obsession with that, as well as the media, like the fake Nancy Grace type character who, you know, is setting up the witch hunt for Nick. She was just so ahead of so many societal topics. It was incredible. She was really tapped in, and the fact that it was so faithful and so successful, yeah, it's a huge win for her too.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, Ben Affleck. This is kind of first for me on his calling card of. I mean, maybe yeah, because I think Goodwill Hunting is still it's both his and Damon's, but Damon is the lead in that one. Even though they wrote it together, from an acting perspective, I think this
yeah,
is
from an acting perspective,
this
yeah.
is Affleck's, number one on the ballot or Mount Rushmore, whatever we want to say. Anything else you want to talk about with this adaptation? Anything we didn't hit on?
I think we covered it. I always enjoy when the adaptations we cover where the book is of a quality that is so high that we have to spend time talking about it, and it's not just setting the scene, it's not just, "This is what we like," it's like,
Yeah,
this book did such a good job at so many things that it forced itself to be in the conversation,
yeah,
and that's really exciting for me about when we do this.
yeah, totally. I mean, and it's always great. I mean, there's even things where I mean we could, if we wanted, talk for another hour about this. It's just there's so much to it. I mean, we didn't even mention the score again with Reznor and Atticus Ross coming back in kind of their working partnership with Fincher. If they're just on the heels of A Social Network, Girl with the Dragon. Fincher was on a run. These
Yeah.
two are working directly. There's just so much going on here that is just really incredible stuff. Yeah, what a great movie. What a great adaptation. What do you give this adaptation out of 25?
Is it unfair to say 25?
I
I
know.
think it might be. I think I'm gonna have to say, I'm trying to think of why I would not get a point as an adaptation, right? Not as a standalone movie, not as a standalone book, adapting that book to a movie. I don't know that I could think of a single thing I would have done differently or could have made it better.
Yeah. Yeah, like
But
I said, the only sorry, finish your thought.
I was gonna say, but I don't like giving something a perfect score feels ridiculous to me. But at the same time, I don't know what I would knock it for.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, in terms of an adaptation, this is about as perfect as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
for converting something to a new medium that is also so unique in its source material with the diary aspect is just incredible. The only thing that, I just wish we had more of in the movie, like I said, was that Nick going back at the end, but I don't know if that's worthy for me to knock at anything. When I was coming into this, in my head, I was like, okay, this is probably a 24.5 out of 25. The only reason I was thinking that was as I was logging this on Letterboxd after we'd seen it. I was like, I don't know if this is quite to a 5-star movie for me, because those things are usually, I just have a long relationship. It's not like is this one of the best movies I've ever seen? It's just like, is this a favorite of mine? Is this a favorite movie yet of mine?
Right.
And I don't know, after 2 watches, like, like, if I watch this movie a couple more times, it could be for sure one of my favorite movies ever, because it is so well done.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I don't
even
know.
its Rotten Tomatoes score has held up, and that never happens.
Yeah.
It's in and I realize that it's binary, right?
Mhm.
It's either a yes or no. But it's got an 87% popcorn meter and an 88% tomato meter.
Yeah.
It grossed what? You said 370 million worldwide on a $61 million budget. People people still talk about it as an, and like I said, we're talking about adaptations, and I don't know that you could have adapted this more perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I think this is, in terms of an adaptation, I think this is I think it is a 25, up there
Yeah.
with Goodfellas.
Yeah. Did we give Goodfellas a 25 out of
We did
25?
give Goodfellas a 25 out of
I
25.
think this, and then I think this should also be a 25 out of 25.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was crazy. Ben Affleck wasn't even nominated for Best Actor, which is wild to me. I think I I feel like this was overlooked from an awards perspective and adulation, because I don't think crime was as prestigious of a genre at this time yet. I still don't think it is, where books like this, these type of crime books I love, they're considered a little bit pulpy, and, they're just kind of like your summer read, like, let me dip into some murder mystery book. But I think this should have gotten a little bit more love from an awards perspective.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Best Actor nominations for 2014, and you have Leo for The Wolf of Wall Street. You have Matthew McConaughey, Dallas Buyers Club.
But this would have been the
Oh,
2015 award show recapping
okay.
the
Well,
2014 year, where it was, I'm trying to think.
yeah, I think he maybe could have made the 2015. I don't think he would have made the 2014 list. The 2015 list, though, Michael
Yeah.
Keaton for Birdman, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game. That deserved one for sure. Don't know if, I think he probably could have beaten out Birdman. Steve Carell and Foxcatcher. Never saw that. Can't comment.
Well, this is a big
Uh,
Foxcatcher fan.
really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
I haven't
Um,
seen it.
Eddie Redmayne in The Theory of Everything, and then Bradley Cooper for American Sniper was 2015. And I feel like Ben Affleck could have easily fit into that category.
Yeah. I mean, even I don't know how, to me, this doesn't win Best Adapted Screenplay. The Imitation Game won. I can't say I've read that book. The movie was fine for me, but I feel like in terms of a feat of adapting a screenplay, I don't know how Flynn doesn't win for this. But there's some great nominees in here. Whiplash. I didn't realize that was an adaptation. Whiplash is a great movie.
I didn't realize that came out that long ago.
I know. That was a pretty stacked adaptation year. I mean, it was The Imitation Game, American Sniper, Inherent Vice, Theory of Everything, Whiplash. Not even nominated, Gone Girl. What a year. Wow. But yeah, I mean, Rosamund Pike was nominated for Best Actress. She didn't win. I can't believe Carrie Coon was nominated for supporting, or even Detective Rhonda Boney. She was fantastic in this too. But we were eating good this year.
Yeah. You know what we should do? A Beautiful Mind, because it comes up right under me searching for this list.
Yeah. I haven't seen that since, I feel like I had to watch that in high school. It's been a long time. Yeah, I'd check it out.
We watched it recently, actually, because Michaela hadn't seen it.
Yeah. But looking at that list, I would definitely do Whiplash. I suppose it also says it's based on a short story, which that just means easier reading for us, which would be great.
Yeah, because we got a long list of things.
Yeah, so that'd be nice. But any final things you got on this? We good to close out?
I think we're good to close.
Yeah, I think I hit all my notes. This is a good one. If you listen to this whole book and now or podcast and now you're spoiled, I'd say still go check it out. I think if you and Michaela do like Gone Girl, I would go watch Strange Darling. I bet you guys will love that movie.
Strange Darling, let me write that down.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. But yeah, this was a good one. I've read some good books this year. I've had a real turnaround from my 2024 year. I've been enjoying.
Okay, good.
I've been enjoying. This has been I'm happy. I'm excited to get back into. We're doing Shutter Island next, I think, or Caught Stealing. I'm in the middle. I'm about 60% through the Caught Stealing book.
Okay, I got to read that real quick. Actually, I haven't started.
It's a pretty short book. I bet if you listen to it, you'll fly through it.
Let me see what it is.
Especially if you're on like 1 point whatever speed you listen to.
1.65 to 1.7.
That's crazy.
Caught by Charlie. Why can't I read this?
Charlie,
where did it go? Hudson?
Yeah.
Houston? Hudson? It's Hudson.
I think, yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit into that. Yeah, I mean, and then...
Oh, it's so short.
It's very short. It's a breeze. I've had like 2 big reading days where I read for maybe an hour and a half, and I got 60-some% of the way through it.
Okay.
It flies.
Yeah.
I'm excited, though. I've heard good things about the movie. I hear people are really liking it, so I'm excited to check it out.
I'm excited to go see it, yeah. Which we should probably do pretty soon because I don't think it's going to be in theaters that much longer.
No, I think we're going to try and go this week. But yeah, we got that. We're going to do Shutter Island. I'm excited to read Shutter Island. That book blew me away when I read it the first time. And we just rewatched the movie recently. And then, yeah, I mean, we're pretty much knee deep into spooky season, so we'll see what we got going on. Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We got those coming up. If you have thoughts, questions, you can reach out to us. Instagram, wherever, email, you guys have that stuff. As always, follow us on all your major platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Rate and review 5 stars, or we will Gone Girl you. And we will be the cool girl. Cool Nick, cool Randy. And yeah, thanks. Thanks for listening, everybody. Most importantly, tell friends about the show. If you're enjoying it, thanks, Nick. This was a good one. I love chatting about this. This was a fun one. I hope
this was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good book to just talk about. There's so much good stuff. Sweet, man. Take it easy.
Yeah. See ya.